Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I've had the honor of chairing the Assembly Veterans Affairs Committee for almost 4 years now, and I am the first woman chair. And during this time, the committee has moved important new legislation that creates a more expansive, inclusive, and holistic view of who qualifies as a veteran, and expanded services and benefits the state provides to our veterans with a particular focus on mental health. I want to stop here and introduce all of my colleagues and other dignitaries who are here. If I had the list with people's names on them, which I don't.
What was in the back of that?
Okay.
One of the backs. All right.
All right. Let me and if we miss anybody, please let us know, because we're really happy to have all of you here. Assembly members Hunter, Saletti, Magnarelli, Jones, Ashby, Septimo, Rajkumar, and Lunsford. Any other Assembly members that I've missed here?
I'm here.
Oh, hi, and Chris Burdick, and Senators Serino, Reichlin Melnick, Hinchy. I think you have
Savino and White.
and
Myself.
and I think and Jordan over here.
Jordan,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I saw her.
Missed that, yeah.
Okay, great. So we have that. And if other people are joining us, we're happy to introduce them as well. Just let me know. So let me tell you a little bit more. Come join us. Hi.
James is here now, too.
And Senator Sanders, right. I'm especially proud of the restoration of Honor Outdoor RX and expanded merit scholarship bills that have been signed into law and that I was honored to sponsor. Nonetheless, I believe New York State is still falling short when it comes to delivering for our veterans and their families. New York State is home to more than 800,000 veterans. Less than 10% of those are women, but slightly more than half are over 65. And alarmingly, only 17% of the overall veterans population is accessing their earned benefits here in New York State. The example that I often use is if you are one of those veterans who are over 65 and who are perhaps a Vietnam War veteran or who's struggling with addiction or PTSD and is housing insecure, there may be 5 or 6 different state agencies in New York that you need to access in order to access your earned benefits, the benefits that you put your life on the line to serve our country and that you deserve to be getting much more easily. It would be simply daunting for anybody to have to address that many different agencies to have your benefits met, but this is something that I believe New York State must and can do better at for our veterans and for our military families. The current Division of Veterans Services was established over 75 years ago to serve World War II veterans. Today, the division serves veterans and service members from all eras and from more diverse backgrounds, but remains relatively unchanged since it was when it was first founded in its structure and in its purpose. Oversight, funding, and distribution of veterans' benefits and programs span multiple state agencies and offices from OMH to OTDA to SED, and our own division, which is usually thought of as the key, is yet another one. Last year, my office hosted both a series of roundtables with colleagues and veterans from across the state, as well as a legislative hearing in Albany. And the overwhelming sentiment from those discussions was the need for a more robust, veterans-focused agency addressing services from mental health and substance abuse to housing and transportation, as well as facilitating the VA benefits, which our DVA does so well, and to help improve communications and connections between veteran servants organizations at the local, the state, and the federal levels. The outcome of these roundtables confirmed that to better serve our veterans and military families, a full review of the structure and purpose of the division was needed, as well as an upgrade of the division to a Department of Veterans Services headed by a cabinet-level commission. Notably, testimony from our women's veterans, and we have several here today, including our own Assemblymember Hunter. Notably, testimony from women veterans at our hearing made it disturbingly clear that female veterans are still not given the recognition, respect, or common courtesies afforded their male counterparts when assessing their earned benefits, and that more definitely needs to be done at the state level to address this inequity and other needs specific to women veterans. The ultimate goal of this legislation is to ensure that veteran service programs are located in one section of law, reducing barriers and making programs more readily accessible to veterans, their family members, and their advocates. The goal is a one-stop shop for our veterans, with a cabinet-level commissioner and expanded budget commensurate with the expanded programming and responsibilities. That's an important piece of this. I will continue to work with my colleagues on the Veterans Affairs Committee and the more than 50 co-sponsors of A8294 to facilitate this elevation. We are hopeful this language will be included in the respective houses' one-house budget proposals, which is why we're having this press conference here today. But we will work to create this department through the budget process and through legislative action, however we can get this done. I would now like to introduce my partner in this legislation, Senate Veterans Affairs Committee Chair, Senator John Brooks, who sponsors the bill in the Senate. Senator Brooks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tight squeeze here this morning. Good morning, everyone. I also have had the opportunity to chair this committee for the last 4 years, and it's been a very active period. We've put together a lot of good, solid programs for veterans. It's a unique committee. We have no Republicans and no Democrats on the committee. There's no politics in that room. We're dealing with the veterans, the needs of the veterans. As been mentioned, we've got about 800,000 veterans in this state, and as we're structured now, we're not reaching a fair share of them. We've got to expand these programs and reach out to people. Our veterans are heroes from many wars, some still going back to World War II, and some wearing the uniform today. Many of them have faced different challenges. We know from the Vietnam era, many had dependency problems and mental health issues. We have veterans who are homeless. We have veterans who are looking for jobs. We need to recognize that it is time to elevate this department so that we reach the needs of all of the veterans across the state. Every single day, we are losing veterans to suicide, men and women both. That has to stop. We have veterans in need of assistance when they come back to civilian life. We want to make sure we do a better job making them aware of the benefits and programs than they have. Our committee earlier in the fall went over to Fort Drum to have a chance to tour the base. It's changed many, and a long time more years ago. I was stationed there for a number of years during the summers. The base has changed dramatically. The military service has changed dramatically. And the needs of our soldiers, and when they go into civilian life, has changed dramatically. So we're gathered here today collectively to call for the elevation of this department as we continue to put legislation together jointly to expand the services and benefits to meet the needs of our veterans. So today we call on this important legislation to be included in the state's budget and to send a message across the state that we respect and honor what you've done for this state and this nation. We are committed to see that you have the benefits and services that you need. And last year we passed legislation, long overdue, to create the state's first military cemetery. I think we may have been the only state in the country that didn't have one. And now we're working to get that fully funded. So today we stand here not as Republicans or Democrats, but as residents of this state who believe support, and honor those who have served this country and this nation. And we're going to continue to improve the benefits, and the elevation of this department is going to help make that possible. Thank you very much. Tough squeeze.
Thank you, Senator Brooks, and thank all of you who have served for your service and for being part of this effort today to accomplish what Senator Brooks and what I've spoken about and what I know our other speakers will talk about too. I mean, we have extraordinary programs here in New York State. We are, for the first time, have our wonderful Dwyer program that's been funded in the executive budget and recognized as an important program, and I know we'll hear more about that from one of our special speakers today. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce my friend and my colleague, Assemblymember Pam Hunter, Chair of the New York State Assembly Committee on Women Veterans. Thank you. Oops.
Good morning. Good morning to my fellow veterans. I see some of my Legionnaire friends up there this morning and some of our veterans from foreign wars. It is a privilege to serve in the legislature as the only female veteran in the whole state legislature. So that definitely gives me unique perspective on what women veterans need. Many times I say to people who say thank you for your service, and it's a pleasure to hear people say that. But when they say thank you for your service, I say to them, then please help the veterans do something more. And the thanks that I'm asking for this morning is in advocacy and support to elevate our Veteran Service Agency to a full commissioned agency. Our veterans deserve that. They don't deserve piecemeal money coming from the mental health budget. They don't deserve piecemeal money coming from ODTA or from the housing budget. We shouldn't have to pit Boys State against Girls State. That's now fully funded. PFC Dwyer peer-to-peer support should be for the whole state, and it shouldn't be divvied up in such a nominal amount. And if we had one agency, the one-stop shop that we're talking about, we would be able to advocate for all of those services for our 800,000 plus veterans. We're asking for everyone today who hears our call to please elevate your voice to your local assembly member or senator to make sure you reach out to the governor's office so that we can make this happen. Right now, another veteran in this state is taking their life, and that's one too many. There are services and benefits that our veterans deserve. They earned them. They should get them. And so we need to make sure that that happens for our veterans. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. It's now my pleasure to introduce the ranking member of the New York State Assembly Committee on Veterans Affairs and a former United States Army Reserve Captain, Jake Ashby.
Sorry, thank you. It's great to be with everyone here this morning, my colleagues in state government and our veterans who are behind me. When you think about what this legislation is aiming to do, you think to yourself, how has this not already happened? When we have the United States Military Academy in New York, we have Fort Drum, home to the 10th Mountain Division, one of the most deployed units in our nation's history. We have the New York Coast Guard, whose area of operation is the largest in the entire eastern United States. And we have a division of veteran services, not a department. My colleagues are exactly right. This is not a Democrat or Republican notion. This is the right thing to do. The Republican Conference has long supported this idea. I sponsor similar legislation that had a study aiming to do this. My colleague, Dee Dee Barrett, said, we don't need to study this issue.
We know.
We can do it. And she took it and she ran with it. And I am grateful for her leadership on this issue. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen with bipartisan support. It's going to happen with veterans and their family support, and all of you here today. When I returned from my second deployment, I was struggling. everybody knew it but me. And thankfully, I had a robust and profound support system with my family and my friends, and they were able to help me. And I'm able to continue my service here through the state legislature. But what about the people that don't have that support system in their life? What about the people who return home and don't have that? Where do they go? And what are we doing here in New York State to help them? That's what this legislation is about. That's what everyone here is here to support, not to leave our veterans behind. I've been to too many funerals. I've been to too many fallen soldier ceremonies, and when I come back, I'm still going to them. I went to 2 last year, just in the fall and in the winter. Those events are what we need to prevent here with this legislation, and we will not stop until it happens. Thank you.
It is my privilege to introduce the Director of Vfw, Mike Hoke.
Thank you, Senator. I am the commander of the Department of New York, Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'm very proud and honored to be here, representing over 40,000 members in our organization. The Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Department of New York, strongly supports this initiative to bring the Division of Veterans Affairs to a department-level position. The current leadership and employees of the Division of Veterans Affairs have done a fantastic job over the years, but they are handicapped by the fact that they only cover a portion of what veterans need. Veterans make up a population of less than 1% in the United States. People join the service, become veterans, go to war, not because they want to join a peer-to-peer contact, groups later, PTS groups, join the VFW, join the American Legion. They do it for love of country. They do it to defend us every single day all through the world, and they really deserve nothing less than our full endeavors. I've witnessed the bipartisan support of the Assembly members, the Senate members on this initiative, and I compliment them all for that, and I hope you contact your representatives, all veterans should, and supporters of veterans, which should be everyone. Please contact your legislators and let them know that this needs to happen now. The time is now. Thank you.
Now it's my great pleasure to introduce my own veteran service director from my own county, Columbia County, wonderful friend, an extraordinary man, Service Director Major Sergeant Gary Flaherty. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Let me start by, first of all, thanking the legislature for all they've done. 20 years ago this year, I was president of the Veterans Association for New York, and every year since then, this is an area that we promoted. Oftentimes it would be passed or it would go to Ways and Means and die in Ways and Means. So it's beyond time that we do that. But I'd like to talk to you about what I feel my operation is, a one-stop operation, and it's very successful based on the Joseph P. Dwyer program. And last fall, the Secretary of the VA visited us in Columbia County in Hudson. Yesterday, I get an email from his chief of staff saying the Secretary was so impressed with the fact that you have such an outreach program, the Dwyer program is so success. One, he's going to send you an autographed photograph for my day room. And two, as he travels throughout the United States, he says, he's telling people, you should find out what Sergeant Major Flaherty does in Hudson, New York, in the Joseph P. Dwyer program. And to me, I testified before the Assembly a couple of months ago, and for the first time I realized how much how much the state did not reach veterans. And I've been kind of stewing about that ever since. I just finished my annual report to my county government, and we estimate that we have 73% outreach. And to me, even that's not enough. Until we reach every veteran at a 100% level, we're still failing. I am proud in my annual report to the county that we were able, through the Dwyer program, to at least prevent, that I know of, 3 veterans from committing suicide. And I'll say one more thing that emphasizes how important having the direct link to the governor is. When we first went into the COVID program, they considered taking care of veterans as non-essential. I addressed that with my county chair, and he said to me, use your own discretion. And my discretion was every day, 7 days a week, I was in there with my staff calling veterans to make sure they were okay. This is how important having this position elevated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have one more speaker.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Our final guest speaker is Malia Dumont, Chief of Staff. No, we got another. Oh, yeah, wait, is Gavin next?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you. Gavin. You want to introduce Gavin?
Sure. It's my pleasure to introduce Gavin Walters, who's the Director of the Ulster County Vets to Vets program.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, members of the Senate, Assembly members, my military colleagues, and everyone listening. I'm an Air Force veteran. I work at the Hudson Valley National Center for Veteran Integration. But now, standing here representing Joseph P. Dwyer programs throughout New York State is truly significant and possibly game-changing event. By being here, we are publicly at the table, reaching out to our elected officials, policymakers, and policy changes. Today, we are representing all Dwyer programs collectively, presenting the issues and challenges that affect us and veterans we serve. Recognition is important for each county because each Dwyer program is mandated to serve their unique and individual veterans population and do so with 100% autonomy. These two caveats, individuality and autonomy, have allowed every Dwyer program to help members of the armed forces regardless of their rank, branch, length of service, and discharge status. Those factors didn't matter when today's veterans first raised their right hands and made a commitment to serve our country. The Dwyer program has allowed service members to feel equally represented and respected. Now when some are homeless, Dwyer can help pay a night or two at a hotel. For veterans who previously enjoyed the outdoors, Dwyer can make it happen, inviting them to take a hike in the woods or camp out, equine encounters, mindfulness groups. This is where these veterans can again enjoy the support and camaraderie they experience while on active duty. All these Dwyer programs activities help many veterans break out of and break through their isolation and loneliness. These are the men and women I stand here representing who are served and healed by Dwyer programs throughout the state, and there are over 500,000 of them. However, Dwyer programs alone can't resolve the many issues our veterans face. With that being said, I'm also here to say that the table we veterans should be sitting at, are entitled to sit at, is the table that allow us to have our voices heard with the same status and entitlements as any other state-level department. Why are we veterans not part of the discussion when policies are being changed and bills being passed that affect our livelihoods and families? How much more effective would it be if veterans were able to speak directly to state lawmakers before they vote on veteran-related legislation? How much better would it be if veterans were an integral part of the process of helping legislators be better informed regardless of the issue of which we're voting? Many of these details of the veteran issues seem to fall through the cracks, lost in a labyrinth of exclusion and exceptions. For instance, if I were to drop dead tomorrow, in my absence, my wife would have tremendous difficulty navigating through the VA bureaucracy. It's also about human nature. Those of us who are not particular in need often overlook the basic and simple needs of others. Why is receiving medical care at a VA clinic or community provider contingent upon a car? Something as simple and vital as transportation, a car, becomes an issue for some veterans because their communities don't fit the arbitrary criteria for VA-provided transportation assistance, or their income is $5 or $10 more than the required eligibility to receive community services. If we, representatives of the greater veteran community, had the opportunity to present these bureaucratic barriers to elected officials, they would have a better understanding of the complexities of the daily life for many veterans, so that in the future, when they're sitting making policies, their first conversation would be with veterans, asking how particular policy is going to affect the individual veterans' daily life and health, mental and physical. For the veterans, Dwyer programs represent having the New York State Division of Veteran Affairs elevated to department status as the door opener to bring in our voices to the table where the decisions are made. Where we'd be there to explain why current systems and policies are not working effectively. We'd be there to help forge new systems and policies that better serve all our New York State veterans. It's as simple as showing respect where respect is due. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gavin, and thank you for your leadership in pulling all of the Dwyer programs together in the state. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Malia Dumont, who's the Chief of Staff and Vice President for Strategy and Policy at Bard College and Chair of Congressman Antonio Delgado's Veterans Affairs Advisory Committee and a veteran herself. Malia? Where's Malia? Ah, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. So I'm very encouraged and pleased to be here because this legislation is a long time coming. It is not fair and it is not right that veterans in New York do not have access to the same state-level benefits and attention that our brothers and sisters in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut, and other states have. It's not right. And Assemblymember Barrett is correct that we don't need to study this problem anymore. It's obvious that this is not right. We just need to fix it. So I'm really happy and thankful for all the legislators who are here today. I want to thank my fellow veterans, including Gary and Gavin, who are on Congressman Delgado's committee with me. And I'm here representing the Operation Enduring Freedom, a generation of veterans. I have an Afghanistan deployment myself. I'm here representing women veterans. I want to thank you for your leadership on those issues. And I also want to highlight another population of veterans that I think is very important and stands to benefit from this legislation, and that's student veterans. New York has more student veterans than almost any other state, and they are the future of this state and the future of this country. And right now, they do not have the right level of support to navigate the cruelly Byzantine federal student veteran benefits architecture. They need more help as they transition from a military career using their education benefits into another kind of career. And they deserve more support from the state level. So for all those reasons, I, as a veteran, think this legislation is great. I can speak on behalf of a lot of members of Congressman Delgado's committee. We all support it. And I can also share with you that Secretary of Veterans Affairs Dennis McDonough, when he visited Kingston this past fall, I asked him about this legislation, and he too thinks it would be a good idea. It would help him and his staff liaise better with the state government here to support veterans across New York State. So there's really no reason not to do this. And I want to encourage all the legislators who are not here this morning to make sure you're on board and let's get this done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Malia, and thank all of our veterans who are here today, and for all of my colleagues who are here today. I think we, as the senator said, we are united in our commitment, and it's that floor just below us here where we really need to bring them on board. So the work with your fellow legislators as well as with the governor's office is really critical. And now, should we open it up for questions? Questions, if there are any. All right, I think we covered everything. I think all of my everybody's available. So thank you all.